you're going to spend a specific amount of time reading. Is Santa here? What was that?
Guys, this is how overwhelmed I am at life and not willing to do anything even slightly extra. 4 years ago, I got a Ring doorbell, and around Christmas, I changed the ringtone to be sleigh bells, and I never, ever changed it back. It has been sleigh
3 or
bells
4 years?
forever. Basically, since I got it.
That would drive me nuts.
Life is full of work and stress. Parenting can be a mess. Being a woman is hard enough without adding on that extra stuff. We'll cover topics of every kind. Helpful resources we will find. We'll even drink a bottle of wine. Join us. It will be a real good time.
Hi, I'm Amanda.
And I'm Nikki.
And welcome to Working Mom's Whine, where we drink a bottle of wine
and whine about our crazy, busy, stressful working mom lives.
That's right.
While trying to help offer resources or ideas that might help you and us along the way.
Today I am drinking a 2018 Bordeaux.
Oh, fancy.
Mm-hmm.
I'm having my usual Nighthawk bottle box.
This is interesting. It gives you ratios. It's 71% Merlot, 26% Cabernet Sauvignon. Why can't I say Cab today? And 3% Cabernet Franc. I like the little building on this one.
Oh, that's pretty.
My toxic trait is that I judge a wine bottle by its cover and other things. We recently had a whiskey that had a very cool cover on it, and then it had like this fun little seal, and it said toasted, and I was like, ooh. It's gonna taste like a smoky barrel. No, it tasted like absolute crap is what it tasted like. One of the worst whiskeys I've ever had in my life.
Yikes.
Yeah. Hayden something turns out to be like from Jim Beam or whatever, which I do not like. But
I know nothing of whiskey.
This isn't bad. It's not near as sweet as the white wine was that I had in the last one, which makes sense, but this is interesting, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. It's very bold. So today we are going to whine about summer activities because the kids are out of school. School's out for summer. I'm going to get us non-demonetized because we don't make money anyway. So, I know there's very mixed feelings about kids being on break because we love our children, but we also love our breaks from our children. And I think they like their breaks from us as well. Mm-hmm. And oftentimes we're juggling work schedules. It doesn't really kind of matter who you are or what your situation is, even if you're like a traditional family type, chances are both of you are working because in today's society, it's very hard to live off of one income.
Yeah.
So you're very often in a situation where you're having to juggle those summer activities with your own work schedule, which is one of the things I felt like whining about because everyone wants to take that time and like sleep in because you don't have to get up and get your kids ready for school or be able to take a couple of days and go do something fun or what have you.
Yeah.
But you also have to think about work. And, you might have some PTO, maybe, but also maybe you're in a position where even if you take a day or two of PTO, you feel like everything's just piling up while you're gone.
Yeah.
So, and it can be expensive, especially summer camps. I have decidedly had too many children. So the older two are going to a church camp this year, and for both of them together, it's $500. But I wanted to put Silas into a music camp. I don't want to send him to a camp where he's spending nights away yet. We're having some issues, and I would just rather bring him home at the end of the day in case, things get out of hand. But I thought, he's really into music. Let me look into a music camp. And it was going to be $500 for 1 week. And I have to take him home every day. So we found a local engineering camp instead where it's only $80, but it's only going to be 2 hours a day. So now I'm going to have to think through, the work schedule. So,
It's a lot of juggling.
a lot of juggling. Very difficult. Is are you going to any camps this year?
No, I've honestly never even looked at them because I just don't want to spend money on that.
Yeah, it's a
And
lot.
she's never asked. I mean, she's pretty young anyway, but
Yeah.
she did ask this year, but she waited far too long. So she told me in like the last week of school that two of her friends were going to this one camp,
Oh,
and she wanted to go. And so I finally figured out exactly what that camp
I was
was and
gonna
reached
ask
out
you
to
if it
them.
ended up being real.
It was real, but it's not, they call it camp, but it's not a camp, it's a daycare center. And
Oh,
they offer summer camps.
gotcha.
And she wanted to go because every Wednesday they go on a field trip, which made my heart extremely nervous.
Sure.
But I reached out to them just to see, what is the cost and is there space? And they took over a week to get back to me.
Oh man.
And when they did get back to me, they didn't answer any of my questions. They just said, sorry, things got crazy. We hadn't responded yet. Are you still interested? And who did she hear about the camp from? We love it when their friends come. And I'm like, you still didn't tell me if you have room or how much it is.
Right.
And then they replied a few days later saying, oh, and the camp is already filled up on Wednesdays, which is the field trip day. So I thought, no, I'm not doing this.
Yeah. Honestly,
So I
if
just ignored it.
if they
She never asked
responded
me
that
again.
way and like didn't answer my questions and were like, "Oops, we got too busy." My first thought would be like, "Are you going to be too busy to pay attention to my child?"
You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Yikes.
I'm just hoping to wait till she's older and I don't know.
Yeah.
Sleepaway camps make me nervous. These days you can't trust anyone.
Yeah.
And I don't let her do sleepovers except with you. So
Yeah.
it's like, okay, I don't
Yeah.
know.
It's hard like that trivia night that I want to do in a couple of weeks, I started hitting up my usual babysitters. Every single one of them is not available. And I'm
Mm,
like, am I going to have to go through this thing again where I find another babysitter and have to worry on this initial night if like they're actually like someone I can trust or not? Ugh.
yep. Yep.
So it can be hard, like sending them, and like the older kids are going out of state this year. And like, I'm going to be like, I'm going to have all these conversations about not leaving the campus and this and that. And
Or
they're
the
not
car on the way there, like at the
right. And
gas
they're probably
station.
not going to listen because we didn't listen.
I don't know. I was a pretty terrified child my whole life, and I
Sure.
remember being told all those things and like being very afraid to break any rules and like
I would say yes.
I had a couple moments, but they were rather tame.
Yeah, I was gonna say I would say yes for the most part, but like I would very often go walking around the camp that we used to go to by myself, or like trying to talk a few people to go into the cave because there was a guy in that group that I liked. I mean, like things could have happened. They didn't, but they could have, depending on the child.
Sometimes you gotta let go.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But depending on the child, it's like how many risks are they going to take that I would be like, oh gosh, I've watched too much true crime for this.
Right.
Um, but also like it's fun to have them and want to do activities and build memories and things, but you also want to relax a little bit and let them relax because this is like the couple of months out of the year where you don't have to get up at 6 a.m. or
Mm-hmm.
learn things for 8 hours a day, but you also want to make sure that like their head isn't in the computer all day long, you
Mm-hmm.
know, or Nintendo or what have you.
It's a
But
hard balance to strike.
yeah, exactly. So, especially with that Switch 2 coming out, for those of you that can afford to pay almost $600 once you've finished up your taxes and everything, those things are insane.
Yeah.
So one of my friends, we have like a mom's group at work, and one of my friends made a list of things to do, and she actually posted it right before Memorial Day weekend. But she's calling it a summer bucket list. It's an ABC summer
Hmm.
bucket list. So She's got like for
Oh, that
A,
sounds like a lot.
it is. She's like, I was just so extra right now. But for A, it says arcade or
That's giving me
aquarium.
PTSD flashbacks to the ABC countdown to the end of school, where
Oh
there's a
my
different
gosh.
theme every day
You need to talk
based on the
about
letter.
that at the end of this one. This will be like the funny story, but it's not funny
Okay.
because you had to actually go through it. But she found something for every letter. Like under B, she put blueberry picking, botanical gardens. We're St. Louis-ish. Um, C, a carousel, going to Cahokia Mounds in Illinois, camping, creek. So it's like a mixture of stuff. Some things might
Mm-hmm.
end up costing you money, some things might be free. Um, like under H, it's hiking or the history museum, but there's also horseback riding. Or under T, she has tie-dye party, train ride, Ted Drew's, things like that. So you can probably look up things that are local to your area or try to come up with your own ABC list or collaborate
Mm-hmm.
with some friends even like, hey, I'll come up with some ideas for A through F and you do it for G through whatever. And then you guys can have a whole list of things that you can try to do. Like maybe there's one day a week where you take a little PTO or take the day off or um, get off of work early and go do something that's on the list. And that way you can have like something that you do every week without having to feel like too pressured to take a bunch of time off of work. Or the library. Everyone has a summer reading program. I'll give you guys one for P. Do a picnic at the park.
Mm.
Two P's at
That's a
once.
good one.
Yeah, just, there's lots of things you can brainstorm, or we can all ask our favorite friend, Chat GPT, for ideas. But something else I like to try and incorporate. So, like, I'm a little extra. I made the kids a list, and every day it's kind of like a chore list, but like there's things that like
Oh, I gotta
rotate.
get on that.
Well, I used to just make them like one list and they would do like three or four things and then they would get electronic time and then in the evening there were more things they had to do. But now that they're getting older and can handle more, I've changed it up a bit to where I made one thing and it's a week long and it's like every Monday here's the things you do and every day is something like the basic things like make your bed neatly, make sure you've got your teeth brushed and your deodorant on. It's God. Um, things like that. And then every, like once a week, it says vacuum your room and like one other space per kid. Um, clean the bathrooms, things like that. So I'm trying to teach them those little life skills while also having ways to get them off the computer. And then even when I would get to midday, it's like, okay, now you can be on electronics for 2 hours or whatever. But then after that, it's like you're going to be outside for a specific amount of time. I put things on there that will also help teach them those things that they're going to have to do when they're on their own. And what's funny is for a while I had Lucas always doing the trash and Eliana always doing the laundry, not because of gender, but because of age. And this year I'm like, okay, we're going to mix it up. One day one of you does the laundry and one of you does the trash, and then the next day we flip it so that they can both learn the opposite skill too. Um, and then one
I,
of the things that I did last summer was
yeah.
I picked one day where they were going to help me cook, and I said, "You're picking the meal. We'll research the ingredients. You guys are going to make it. I'll stand there and tell you what to do." This year, just every time I go down to make dinner, I'm calling them down to help me out with something, some aspect of
Mm-hmm.
it, whether they're learning knife skills or, how to brown beef or whatever. And then the younger kids are setting the table, things like that.
Yeah. I'm really feeling Ari in the preparing for life department. I don't have her do anything.
Well, she's still
The
pretty
most
young,
she
though.
does is she picks up her room sometimes.
Here's the thing, though. Like,
Like,
Silas is the same age, a little older. And before this summer, the only thing I had him doing, other than making sure he dressed himself and brushed his teeth, was feeding the dog. And with Oliver essentially on hospice, I the way that I have his food and drink set up right now, I'm like, Silas would have to try and like climb this gate that I've got all the time, and I don't want to do that. So I've just been doing it. And he's on special food and everything. So I was like, what we're gonna do is Silas is gonna help Jack, and Ari doesn't have this. But when Silas gets stressed, Jack gets stressed. When Silas makes his bed, he helps Jack learn how to make his bed. So basically, that's really all I have him doing other than helping set the table. So at that
Okay, I
age,
don't
I
feel so
feel,
bad then.
yeah, exactly. If they are keeping their living space clean and they are making their bed and they are spending enough time outside.
Ari doesn't make her bed, but she doesn't have a traditional bed either.
Yeah, and that's the thing too. Like, I
I
even
got her a tent thing that sits on it. She doesn't use a comforter or anything. She uses blankets, so it's like you can't really make the bed.
right. Well, and I told the kids too because we don't do it during the school year. There's just
Mm.
you're getting up super early already, and I don't want to add one more thing on their plate, and it's stupid to do it after school. So I told them, I said, I know, that we don't usually bother with this, but in the summer when we have more time, you're going to learn how to do it because
Mm-hmm.
if you have company over in the future, you're going to want to make sure your house looks neat. Basically, that's it. So,
Mm-hmm.
but that was kind of funny because they were just like, why are we making our beds now? And I'm like, because maybe someday you'll need this. But Silas does do not as much until he gets older. So, but Ari could help you with the laundry and stuff. You could make her do that.
Yeah, I thought about having her fold stuff or at least put her own stuff away,
Hmm.
but then I get in this thing where, like, when I do the laundry in the middle of the work day because I work from home,
Oh, yeah.
and so when she's at school, she's not home to help with that. Well,
Yeah.
now she is, but she's sleeping or
Well, and I have them
I don't
folding
interrupt.
for a little bit, but I get a little me about it. So what
I
they
want it
do,
folded nice.
yeah, what they do is, of course they have to make sure their clothes get into the baskets, but they will start the washer and or the dryer, and then they will bring it to me, and then I will fold it.
Yeah, I could do that, but Ari and I, since it's just the two of us, we go a whole week without doing
Yeah,
laundry. And then I carry down one big, giant, heavy basket and we do it all together. And I use a color catcher sheet so
yeah.
I don't have to like split up loads and stuff. So it's like she'd have to be able to pick it up and dump it in there. And I don't even think she could do that.
What's funny is I split my loads up more than I really even need to, just because I happen to have 6 or 7 different hampers hanging up there. And so I'm like,
Yeah.
okay, obviously whites, and I put the jeans and towels together. Maybe that's what I should be separating. But then I separate lighter colors versus darker colors. And then, so like
I used to do all that.
yellow, green, orange, tan all goes in one.
Mm-hmm.
Purple, blue, blah, blah, blah. But like red and pink get their own too, mostly
Yeah.
because Eliana has so much red and pink that if I didn't put it in its own thing, she would never have clean clothes. But I do
That's funny.
go a little overboard on the laundry selection. But even when we do that,
Well, you
I
guys have
will,
6 people.
I
That's
know,
very
and I will
different.
make one load of laundry happen every day, but very often we get to a day that I have off or the weekend, and we will go 3 or 4 loads of laundry that day just to catch up. It's crazy.
Whew.
And then there's when they come back from camp. Okay.
Gross. That will be gross laundry.
Yeah, that'll be do it yourself laundry. Tell us all about your very traumatic end of school year experience.
So most schools do like a spirit week, right? And it might be more than once a year, but it's spread out. It's one week. Ari school every year on top of spirit weeks throughout the year, they do a 30-day ABC countdown to the end of the school year.
And they do a lot of
And
spirit weeks too.
yeah, it's not 30 days, it's 26 because it's ABCs, but close enough. So
Practically
we get
30.
this calendar like a couple weeks before it starts and it gives all the theme days. And so I'm like going onto Amazon and trying to buy her a dinosaur shirt and an Olaf snowman shirt and like all this stuff. And of course they say you don't have to participate, but who wants to be the one kid
Right.
going that's not on theme or whatever?
Right.
And we live in how to put this nicely, a well-to-do tax bracket kind of school district.
Yeah.
I live in one of very few condos that were allowed to be built in this area because people stick their noses up in the air about people who live in apartments and condos.
They hate condo people, and you are the condo person.
Because we're the poor people, you
Yeah.
know?
That low
Not
income
to mention the
housing,
fact that I am on a single income and own my condo and
Right.
make a very decent paycheck.
Right.
Okay. But whatever.
Right.
So anyway, we have this countdown and I don't want my kid to miss out. So I plan ahead to have all the things ready. But it's very stressful to remember what is each day and to make sure that she has remembered and put it on or planned ahead and
Right.
got it. And most of the time, it's a last minute thing I have to figure out in the morning while I'm juggling already working and trying to get her ready and out the door with normal things like her snack and her lunch and her backpack and all of these
Yeah.
things. And we're adding on to that. Oh, what's today's theme? Which shirt are we supposed to put on? Or what accessory are we supposed to bring? And of course, there's inevitably a day that you forget. Or there was one day, I think, where there were 3 things they were supposed to do. And I only sent her with one of the 3 things.
Yeah.
And then she comes home and she's like, Mom, you forgot to send me with my beach towel and my sunglasses. And I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah. There was Silas's school there was kind of a 20-day thing. It wasn't ABC based. And
Yeah.
luckily for me, a lot of it was the school's responsibility. Like, oh, it's the teacher day, so we're going to give them a paper and they're going to make a lesson. But there
Mm-hmm.
was one day where he was supposed to have, I think it was a blanket and a flashlight, and I forgot. And luckily for me, I live literally 2 minutes from the school. And I was like, hey, if I bring it up by like this time, is it still going to work? And she's like, yes. And I'm like, okay, I'm on the way.
I didn't even look at that because I didn't know that I had missed it and nobody told me. So, like,
Right.
she just got off the bus and she's like, didn't have all the stuff I needed. I'm like, oh my
Guess
God.
what? You'll have forgotten in 2 years. No one will care.
Like, I'm so sorry, but you will live and you did every other theme day this year. And let's not mention that as a single mother and the primary caregiver, the house that she actually like 24/7 lives at,
Hmm.
I am the only person responsible for doing this.
Right.
And her dad doesn't even know that there's a theme day.
Right.
He picks her up on his days and he's like, why are you dressed like a queen? Why are you wearing this crazy outfit? And we're like, oh, well, today's theme was the letter whatever. And
Right.
like,
What was,
must be nice.
oh,
Must be
you was
nice.
USA, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
USA Day.
I remember saying, at least I didn't make it unitard and unicycle day.
And there were a few I didn't have to do things for, like V for Vote Day, where they just voted on everything they did at school.
I can't believe they made you do 26 days of spirit days at the
It was
end
a
of the
lot.
year when you're
It was
already
a
dealing
lot.
with normal end of the year
We
stuff.
had King and Queen Day. She wore a full like dress up dress and gloves and scepter and everything. We had Magical Day where they dressed in Disney stuff.
That was funny because we were like, well, you're ready for that one.
Oh yeah,
That one's not
did not
hard for
have to buy
you.
anything for that.
You know what you should do next year, now that she's getting a little older, is like maybe what I would do is I would put a reminder on my phone every night at like 8 p.m. to see what the next
Lay
day
it out.
was and lay it out. Maybe you tell her, this is what tomorrow is. Go get your things right now, you know?
And if you don't, you miss out, and that's on you.
Exactly. Exactly. Like put it on her to get it done.
I did try to do that a couple nights, but we also have this issue where 1 to 2 nights a week she spends a couple hours with her dad, and when that
That's
happens, she
true.
comes home past bedtime already,
Yeah.
and just getting her to get in the house and get her bedtime snacks and get into bed is
Yeah.
like pulling teeth.
But maybe just
She
even
wants,
doing like a couple of the other nights would help.
yeah, she wants that time to like transition and just
Yeah.
sit down on the couch and watch some videos.
Which
And
is fair.
yeah, I'm like, I get it, but
Yeah.
you can't. Like, go to bed.
Yep.
We're out of time. I cannot create extra time on the clock.
Right.
And I can't take away time from him because then it becomes pointless. By the time he picks her up and takes her all the way out to his house, she's only spending a couple hours with him anyway.
Right.
So it's like,
Exactly.
if I make that even shorter,
Yeah. It's
Ugh.
tough. Well,
So she's spoiled.
right. As always, thanks for joining us. You can find us on all the socials as Working Moms Wine, workingmomswine.com, patreon.com/workingmomswine. Like, subscribe. If you have any go-to summer activities in your area, leave them in the comments. Maybe like the state or like general area you're from, so people could be like, "Oh, I live near there. I'll check that out." And then we can compile a little list for everybody. And we will see.
Cheers.
Yeah, we will see you next time. Bye.
Bye.
I can't. I'm recording a podcast. Nope. Did you hear that? As I'm recording a podcast, he goes, "Nope,
Nope.
nope."
You're sure not, Mom?